guys, we are back with Messy on Purpose, and I have Ashleigh here with me today, who's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and we're going to dive right into the conversation.
Hello, thanks for having me. So, my name's Ashleigh. I'm a holistic nutritionist in Canada with a focus on burnout recovery. And I'm also an author. I wrote a book on navigating dementia, and it's a holistic guide on how to support a loved one through dementia diagnosis.
So let's talk about your journey to where you are now, quick, before we kind of dive into, how you help people.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got kind of a story of, what leads you to that point of helping people, right? Regardless of where that is, if it's addiction, if it's health, if it's mental, whatever it might be. So what got you to where you are today?
For sure. So I chose to focus in on burnout and burnout recovery from my own experience. I became severely burned out. I wrote a book, as I said, for navigating dementia, and it was one of my loved ones who was diagnosed. So during that time, I was working full time. I was going to school part time, sorting all that out. I became so burned out. I was very ill. I had a chronic cold, chronic infections, and lost feeling in my leg from hip to toe. And that was the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I took over a year to really work through and figure out what's going on with me. And I did a lot of deep dive research into burnout, different types of burnout and the phases, and how to get yourself back out of it.
So what were some of the steps you took to get out of that?
So one of the biggest ones, and if someone is struggling with burnout, they probably really struggle with this thought, is to sit and relax. Because I think that we're always wanting to go and do stuff, especially women. We always have our laundry list of things that we need to do, and it's got to get done, so we're going to try to get it done. And I feel like a lot of people have guilt for sitting and doing nothing because it's unproductive, but the reality is it's exactly what your body needs. It's that time to rest, digest, recover, and to recuperate, to then being able to get back to being productive. And the second biggest thing I would say was doing things to calm the nervous system, like breath work, meditations, literally laying on the floor with your legs up against the wall to help calm out there.
Yeah, I think I lost you for a second there. Can you repeat what you were saying?
Yeah. So I was saying some of the biggest things would be to just sitting and relaxing, resting, and doing that guilt-free, not having a list of, I got to do these 10 other things running in the background. And another one was to work on calming the nervous system. So through breath work, maybe meditation, maybe not, and a simple strategy of literally just laying on the ground with your legs up against the wall to help put your body into parasympathetic were two of the biggest factors, I think, to help come back out into recovery.
You would think someone like me is crazy. So I run myself to the end, and I don't stop to rest. And it's not because I can't, it's not because I'm incapable, it's because if I keep going, eventually I'm not burnt out anymore.
Yeah.
That's just how I process.
Yeah, and some people for sure, and like I said, so there's different sort of phases of it. So for some people, it's if you have joy, like if you love what you're doing, the odds of burning out are a lot lower because you're really enjoying it. It's when you start to lose joy, or if you have years where you've just been chronically stressed, it might hit you differently.
Yeah, I run myself to the end. This week I have done, this is my sixth podcast. I have one more later tonight. And I work 40 hours a week. I do 20 plus post on social media per day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and many other little things in between. So I constantly go, and my thought is when you stop, that's when things like could have went, right? Could have taken off, something could have changed. And to me, I'm waiting for that point because that kind of gives me that rebirth of excitement and motivation and moving forward. So like I won't quit. I have been as disciplined as ever in 2025.
Yeah. And so in your 2025, do you feel like, because you're doing a lot, are you finding joy and enjoying a lot of it is like what you're doing with your podcast, your work, things like that?
I mean, I enjoy it overall, but I get extremely like overwhelmed. Like last night I got super stressed out because I have all these podcasts this week. I have my work, which takes up majority of the week. Then I also have a Christmas party. I have my normal social posts, which are non-negotiable. They go out every single day. And like everything in between, planning events with people and things coming up in 2026, getting ready for the Christmas parties that I have in LA next week. Like there's so much going on. And I just, like, I got really frustrated, and not like a breaking point or anything by any means. I was just mad that I couldn't put away the laundry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're crushing it. You do. Yeah, I said that is a lot. That is a lot on the go for sure.
I
And
do
the
more
laundry
than
can
your
wait.
average person, though. It's a little different. So,
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like it.
but
And do you feel stressed out? Do you feel like you get those symptoms, or do you feel like you get stressed out but you can bounce back? You can start tomorrow.
I think I have control over my emotions,
Mm.
so that causes me to be able to control stress as well.
Yeah.
So I don't let stress affect how everything else goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes it takes a lot of self work to get to that point, right? I
For
have a
sure.
lot more control over my emotions because I've worked to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So things like sadness and stress and anxiety, it all I still feel all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
but I do not react to them like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that do you think that it's almost like allocating time at some point to deal with what's going on, and you're like, all right, at 7 o'clock, I'm gonna deal with my stress or sadness or whatever it is, and then the rest of the time is
No,
devoted to, no?
I don't need to deal with it. I don't
Oh.
need, it's not that big of an issue. It's not something I have to deal with because it's managed well. It's not like I have
Mm-hmm.
to suppress it and then revisit it. I'm not suppressing anything. It's just I don't let little things get to me.
Right. Yeah. That's a great way to live because the little things, they can be brushed aside. Does it matter tomorrow? Does it matter in a week? Then maybe we don't need to focus so much on it.
If it's not in your control, a lot of people focus on
Yes.
things that are not in your control.
Mm.
And if you continue to do that, and the reason people do that is because they don't want to face themselves. They don't want to look in the mirror and figure out what they need to fix in them. So they focus on all of these other factors that are out of their control because they can't do anything about it.
For sure. I absolutely agree. And then it's super powerful to what you do, because you're owning it. You're taking the power back. If you can't control it, oh well, I'll focus on the things I can control and what I can deal with, and it gives you all the power back. It's within you, and that's a great strategy.
And the other part too is having discipline to do the things we don't want to do, right? There's many
Yeah.
things in life we don't want to do. Do we really want to go to the bank and get something figured out that's wrong? Or do we want to really deal with this notice we got in the mail? You know what I mean? Things like that. If you just take care of it right away,
Yep.
or do the hard things first in your day, those things are already done, and now you don't have to like ignore them and they get worse. So that's another factor too. I think a lot of people put off things that they could do ahead of time or right away just because they don't want to do it.
Yep. Totally. And I love that, because if you, for example, going to the bank, that just sits as an undercurrent of stress until you've dealt with it. And then they'll just snowball into like, I have these 5 little things that is now massive and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it gets worse too, right? Like if you get a notice for something and
Yeah.
now you've put it off, it's gotten buried somewhere, and now you owe penalties and everything else. Now it's even more stressful, and now I really don't want to deal with it. It's so funny what we'll put ourselves through. You know what I mean? With little fixes.
It's true. Yeah. And you know what? Like before I hit like extreme burnout, where I was literally so unwell, I don't think I could have done many of the things who I was, and I would have just continued doing and probably not with the best strategy. So now I'm way more cognizant of what am I doing, what needs to get done, what needs my attention, what doesn't need my attention, and letting go. You have to let go of certain things to find the peace in yourself. Otherwise, it can get overwhelmed so quick.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is we hold on to things, right? Like
Yeah.
grief. We don't deal with the grief, so then we hold on to this, and we hold on to the like what is unknown or what could have been. You know what I mean? And when we hold on to these false thoughts, I think a lot of times, a lot of the things that we think, we honestly shouldn't necessarily believe.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And giving it so much focus and attention, sometimes these like the grief or things that really don't need our attention so much can just they can snowball in your brain. That you can it became something minor. Now you've made a huge thing of it.
Yeah, we overthink it into this big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you said like meditation, right? That was one of them. What was the other one?
So meditation, and I did more like some parasympathetic work. So stuff like putting like ice on your hands or ice on your chest, and breath work. So breathing in for 2, out for 4 with the exhale. And there's a lot of different types of breath work that can be done. I just kind of played around until I found what worked for me. And I would just continue doing that. And those are things that are now very important to me. And I'll be consistent, because if I set myself up for success, then the odds of getting back to burnout are significantly lower. Because like you said, we can only control what we can control. So we have to let everything else go. So how do you do that? It's by building your stress resiliency and telling your brain, and you're right, it's so much work. Like you have to do a lot of work on yourself to be able to say, I don't care about this, I'm moving on.
And you have to take care of yourself, right? And that goes in all different sectors, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, like all of that has to be taken care of. And everyone kind of functions differently, and what that means and what therapy looks like. And because for me, I don't need a therapist. I don't. I'm very if I were to have a therapist, I can tell you right now, I could easily manipulate them into thinking whatever I want them to think.
Yeah.
That's 100%. And but I don't need a therapist. I don't need someone to talk to. For any like stress relief or anything like that, I go to the gym. Like that is enough for me. That kind of just starts my day off. I feel very relaxed and I just dive in. And not everyone is the same. Some people need the therapy. Some people need other forms of therapy. Maybe it's not the gym. Maybe it's not a therapist, but there's other forms. And everyone's a little bit different.
Totally, absolutely agree. There's no one size fits all on how you navigate your stress. I also love the gym. I'm pretty consistent. I think I mentioned in the beginning, I wrote the book because my loved one was diagnosed with dementia. So that's like at least 3 times a week. We start our day, and my loved one's almost 80. So also getting to see the shift from him was huge. And just when he's there at the gym, the people just love him. They all want to come up and talk to him and tell him how amazing he's doing, because I think it's not as common to see like an 80-year-old man crushing it at the gym.
It's crazy that more people don't work out, right? Because building that muscle at that age is super hard. But if you start younger, it helps so much with the aging process. And that's why certain people can go to the gym at 80 years old and get after it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% for sure. You'll see like the comparison side by side photo of like which person do you want to be at 80, and it's this like super fit person and this another person with a walker. It's like make a choice, because you have to live every day to get to who do you want to be at 80? Do you want to be in pain and immobile and relying on others, or do you want to be hitting the gym and like just being able to do the things that you want to do day to day?
Yeah, it's a choice, and we have those choices every day. So going back to what's in your control, that is something that is in your control at all times. And it doesn't even necessarily mean going to the gym. I tell people this all the time. If you are intimidated by the gym, maybe you just don't like it, there's something about it that just doesn't work for you, simple walks and weighted walks is really all you need. So it's as simple as just going for walks or adding like weighted walks is more than enough to get started. Like you don't have to go to the gym. Yes, it helps. Resistance training and building muscle really does help you, especially in the aging process. Having more muscle will always help. But you don't have to start there. You don't even have to ever get there, but just having some type of movement where I recommend walking. A lot of people will dive into like running, and I don't like running because it's super hard on your joints. And it's not even necessary. You don't get much more out of running as you do walking. So you might as well just walk. And then if you want to add resistance, you just put on a weighted vest.
Yeah, totally. I love it. And especially if you can get outside and do it, you get the fresh air, the sun, help regulate
Yeah.
your hormones. That was a huge thing for me. Is like I set myself up for failure to be burned out. Like I said, I was working full time, going to school part time, taking care of people. So I stopped. I was like, well, I don't have time to go for my afternoon walks because I have all these things to do. And then once I hit burnout, I was like, I have to go for my walk. Everything else can wait. And so I live near Niagara Falls in Canada. So the winters can be really cold. I just go out prepared now. Like I will literally go for my walk in snow pants, winter boots, good to -40, an aviator hat, and it's like all you can see is my eyes because that's the priority. And if I miss a day, I feel it. I feel it as soon as I wake up. Like I gotta go move. I was gonna say too, it also helps like the movement also helps move like any emotions, like anything that's stressing, and we always don't have to define whatever happened to really hone in on like why did I react this way or why did I feel this way. Sometimes it's just get that movement in so your body can shake it out.
It makes a huge difference. My walks with my dog are non-negotiable no matter how busy my schedule is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And your dog appreciates it.
Yeah, she's kind of annoying about it.
Yeah. Aww.
Like I do it at 4:00 in the morning. So like she's like,
wow.
why didn't we go if I sleep in for an hour?
Yeah. Yeah, so no rest. She'll
So.
keep you on track.
Yeah. She's very routine. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of what you do for a living.
So now I'm a holistic nutritionist. So I do one-on-one consultations. I can do meal planning assessments, functional testing as well. But again, my big focus is helping high-achieving women or caregivers come back and recover from burnout. And a lot of that are these little tips of like going for your exercising, picking anything that you do for joy, finding community. So I also really love the gym and recommend it. Or dance classes even, whatever people are willing to do. And then I do also like the class environment or the gym environment because you also build a community. Because if you're there every day at 5 o'clock, it's usually the same people every day at 5 o'clock. And you'll get to know them and sort of build a bit of a relationship. And also, if you don't show up for yourself, they'll know and they'll call you out on it and ask, where were you? Why aren't you coming anymore? Why aren't you showing up for yourself here?
When it comes to physical fitness, I mean, there's so many different avenues you can take, and there's something for everybody. It's just choosing to take the action to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Even doing free videos at home, whatever they may be.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, too. You can totally work out at home.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, most people did during COVID.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah.
So what other things so when it comes to like the nutrition and stuff, because that's a big part of it, right? Like we have to, in order to take care of ourselves, we have to fuel our bodies, right? So what exactly do you do there? How do you focus on that? As you say, you keep saying it's holistic. So kind of what's your approach?
So when it comes, you're right, it's holistic. It's what are you going to do for your joy, for your body, and nutrition. So we'll talk about, because everyone's different. So there's no one plan that fits all. There's meal plans like the Mediterranean diet has a lot of good research to support a huge population of people. But sometimes it's shifting somebody from eating McDonald's 5 times a week to then saying, can we have it twice only and just add in home cooked meals for there? Or sometimes I feel like people get so complicated with their meals. Like we don't need to make it complicated. Just put some chicken and vegetables and like something on your plate and go from there. So I also like to talk about, especially with women, because women we age different through menopause. Women are more likely to have autoimmune disease, more likely to have Alzheimer's, dementia, and also more likely to lose muscle mass. So it's also part of prevention. So I'm also huge on protein. Like how can we get you to an achievable number of protein that's suitable for your body, and fiber. How can we increase your fiber? Because that is, between protein, fiber, and water is something that so many people neglect, or they are over drinking water but not having the minerals to actually hydrate their bodies as well. So when we talk about nutrition, it really is dependent on the person sitting in front. And I also from my own experience too, when I was so burned out and so sick, I wouldn't have been able to follow a very strict healthy diet because my body was just fighting to exist, fighting to live. So how do we pivot that and also be okay with, maybe I'm not eating, I don't know, maybe I'm not eating paleo and I have to add in other things for now. How do we move through it and move through the nutrition without also creating some sort of other disorder where it's like you can't enjoy the little things anymore because you have to be so strict and diligent and set yourself up for failure in the future.
Do you typically swing more towards the counting of the macros?
Again, it really depends. So I think that everyone should start there, but most people don't know how much protein they're eating. They don't know how much fiber they're eating, and they're probably not aware of how much fat they're eating as well. And if they looked at how many carbohydrates, a lot of people will be really high there. If there's someone where that's going to make them throw in the towel, like some people are just not good with technology and they don't want to do it, they just won't follow through, I would then say, just try to add in onto your plate like 50 grams of protein and measure it that way, but not necessarily be very diligent on it. Or let's just start and get a baseline where you are. But fiber is another one. If possible, I like to get people to measure because most people don't get enough fiber. We want like 30 to 50 grams every day. And if we're not having a lot of fruits and vegetables, a lot of people aren't hitting those numbers. So
I
would
think it's
encourage,
hard though to like put 50 grams of protein on your plate if you don't know what 50 grams of protein looks like, right? Because you can kind of look at something and say, oh yeah, that chicken breast is 50 grams of protein, and maybe it's 30.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not hardcore on the tracking, but in the beginning, I do like people to get a good idea. And even if that means going on Google and how many ounces of chicken am I going to need to have the 50 grams, if they're able to do it, because you're totally right. If you have no idea what it looks like, you're not going to achieve it. So, in the beginning, I do like people to try to measure if they will. But if they're going to just throw in the towel and say, I'm not going to do it, then we'll try to take a different approach and try to give visuals instead. Like, what does 3 ounces of chicken or protein look like?
What about using AI? So they now have apps where you can scan the food on your plate. I mean, it's still not accurate, but it'll still be better than them judging.
Yeah, I'm for that too, if people are comfortable doing that. And MyFitnessPal, you can also scan in a lot too. It makes it a lot easier with the barcodes, or create your meals and keep those ones consistent.
Not gonna lie, I hate MyFitnessPal. That's one of my least favorite apps.
Yeah.
I hate it. I actually use Chronometer.
Oh, okay. I've not heard of that.
Check it out. I like it. It's super user friendly. It has like a clearer look. It doesn't have as many freaking ads popping up. It's a free app too, so it's great to recommend to clients.
Yeah.
And you can adjust it online.
Awesome.
So like you can adjust it in the web browser. So you can actually like get a better view instead of doing it in the app, which is kind of a pain.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. I'll definitely check that one out.
Yeah, I've tried quite a few of them, and MyFitnessPal is definitely one of my least favorite.
Yeah, yeah, it can be a little bit more complicated. I do, what I like about it is the meal that you can add in your meals. If you have like say overnight oats or something like that, you can add those in. I like that feature, but
you can do that on Chronometer too.
Okay.
Like you can do the recipes, and you can like break them into serving sizes, and yeah, there's a lot of like really good features.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Just something new.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we kind of talked about the nutrition. Is there anything else that you do that you work with your clients on outside of nutrition and physical fitness?
Yeah, I mean, so an important one we talked about a little bit so far is the power of your language. We'll talk a lot about the importance of shifting your language to something that's doable, and not sort of, so for example, I was saying with my book, my loved one was diagnosed with dementia. We might look at sort of how do we shift the language. So in the beginning, if we had an appointment, I would just be so upset driving to this appointment. But then I learned to shift the conversation from, this is a sad situation going to an appointment. Instead, I now get 45 minutes I didn't have beforehand that I now get with this person that I wouldn't have had, because otherwise I'd be working, I'd be doing something else, my time would be filled. So we focus on sort of shifting the language and building up that stress resiliency. Like, how do you not let the little stuff get to you day to day? What can you do? We'll look at maybe heavy metals that might be running in your body and causing a lot of problems, or parasites, because parasites can cause a lot of issues. They can cause issues with your mood, your energy, how you fuel your body. So people are always really intrigued on the conversation of parasites, and if almost everybody has them. It's the way of life with how we live. So how do we get rid of them? So I'll do a lot of education on removing parasites and heavy metals, and just how to shift things in your home as well. Maybe eliminating some of the fragrance stuff that we have, like your dish soap, your shower stuff, or filtered water. And how do we just get a little bit of the toxins out of our day-to-day lives?
Do you ever like have clients do blood work or anything like that to dive deeper into the health?
So for my role, I can do some functional testing. So we can do GI maps, we can do like an oat test, hormone test. But sometimes the solution is working with somebody else as well. So I'm a huge advocate of having a healthcare team. Sometimes it's getting in a naturopathic doctor or your Western medicine doctor to go and do the blood work to see where the numbers are at, and then working together on a plan after. So for myself, I will do the functional testing. If we need something else, I might look to bring in and connect with, usually I'll connect more with an ND, a naturopathic doctor, to get to the root.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there any client stories you want to share?
Let's see. Sure. So I had one recent client who had been struggling with a number of things. So one assessment that I do use is it's called a NutriBody. It's not a diagnostic tool, but it's a huge questionnaire. And it can look at water intake, heavy metals, parasites, sugar excess, low water, not enough essential fatty acids. So I always start with that, and it almost always gives a really good starting point of where people are, where the issues are. And one of my more recent clients we had was actually just a mineral deficiency. There was other things we had to adjust, but a mineral deficiency. And then once we were able to address that mineral deficiency, brain fog lifted, they had more energy, they felt better in their body. And it was just such a small shift of adding in one mineral that you wouldn't think, because there's so many, you wouldn't think to break it down into which one is it that I need, that helped sort of get them back on track as well, which is awesome to see.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then, so where are they at? You said they're a newer client, so like they're just feeling much better. Like what is the end result right now?
So they're feeling a lot better now. So we'll still continue working on other things because there's more to work on. So by the time you get to feeling unwell consistently, it was probably a lot leading up to that moment. It was probably a lot of days that were just overlooked. So when you're unwell for a long period of time, they say it takes, for every 1 year of illness, it takes about 1 month to recover, 1 month of active effort to heal the body, to recover from it. So we'll definitely continue on. There's some autoimmune work that needs to be done, and that will take time, but it's still nice to see the energy, because if you feel like garbage, you're going to have a really hard time healing your body and doing the things that you need to do in the first place.
Yeah, when you feel like garbage, it's hard to do a lot.
It is. And and a lot of people don't realize how crummy they feel until they start making shifts and then realize, oh my gosh, I have lived feeling sick for so long that was my normal baseline. Feeling sick was my baseline.
Well, most people eat like toxic foods and things like that, and then they have like horrible, like, like gut biome. And they don't even realize that like their poops are off, or I know that's kind of like little gross to talk about, but it's really part of health, right? Like how you poop is how, and so like if you're not paying attention to that, you just think that, oh, this is normal, this is just how I am. And they don't usually even realize anything's wrong, and because they don't realize it, they're not making a change. And then now they go to the doctor, they're sick, and they have to do something, and that's usually when people make the change.
Yeah, and to get a diagnosis from your doctor right now, they're saying it takes on average 8 years, which is a very long time to stay feeling unwell.
Is that like a Canada statistic?
I think, Canada and the US are usually pretty close. I'm not sure if it's definitely in Canada, about 8 to 10 years to get a diagnosis. I'm pretty sure the US could be similar.
Because it takes forever, right, to get into the doctor there?
It depends on what it is. So we can go see our physician. Like, you can go see your family doctor fairly quickly. If you need something more, like testing done that has a bit of a wait, you can wait. So like heart disease, stuff like that might take a bit to get in.
Which is insane, right? Like, you can go there for a general checkup, but the important stuff takes forever.
Yeah, and they'll prioritize it based on the need. So if you're needing something but it's minor, but someone else is like in worse shape, they're going to get it first.
And what's crazy about that too, yes, it makes sense in theory, but these people with the minor stuff too will maybe worse off by the time they get to them.
Absolutely. If you go in on day 1 and then now you're on year 8 and you're just figuring out what the problem is, now he's screaming at you to be so obvious to get the diagnosis. So even if you don't have any issues going on, like, you can protect your health in so many different ways, and it's just, you don't realize how important it is until you lose it, or until you see someone else go through something super scary. Because again, they say that every year you're sick, it takes 1 month. So if you took 8 years before you got a diagnosis, that's when the symptoms began. You were probably sick before you even had the symptoms.
And unfortunately, most people won't get checked until something's really wrong.
Yeah.
And the other part too, to prevent it, is if you don't even realize you're doing anything wrong until something's wrong, or you don't want to. Maybe you do know. I have people that are like, oh, I'm going to be bad today, and like they're just eating like crap all the time. You know what I mean? And like, you shouldn't be doing this. You clearly know you make these comments, but you still do it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think too, when you were talking about for the digestive and elimination, my friend sent me a picture, and I think it was in Walmart, and it was the aisle for Metamucil and just like all those for digestive health, empty, totally bare, like consistently empty, which also says most people are probably experiencing these issues.
Yeah, and like that stuff that I wouldn't use unless I absolutely had to, like a lot of those over-the-counter things.
I feel the same way.
even like a cold, I would rather just up my vitamin C than use some kind of cold medicine. And then if it doesn't go away or it gets worse, then use it if I have to.
I agree. I'm the same way. I'll use them. Worst case scenarios I'll get in, but otherwise, like, your body's very good at doing what it needs to do. So if we just sometimes let it do what it needs to do, support it, give its vitamin, give the minerals, it should bounce back fairly quickly.
Yeah, our bodies are meant to fight those things.
Yeah, they are. And we get it once, you build resiliency to having the same virus come around a second time.
Yeah.
As long as we get our bodies
in shape. Exact one.
Yeah, exactly. And they say that, that's like, I one time heard a naturopathic doctor say that if you're not getting sick every 1 to 2 years, that's also a sign that you need to do some work, because our bodies need the virus to build resiliency for bigger stuff that might come at us one day.
Yeah, you got to have something. Or maybe you are getting sick and you don't know it.
Yeah, and again, like that. So I think that's so many people don't realize it.
They
just
overlook small little things.
Yeah, it is. And like, what you said, we started with a conversation, like you have a problem, you address it. And a lot of people, and like you said, it took work for you to get there. I've got a problem, I'm going to address it. And a lot of people don't want to address it. I'm just going to continue on, move on with my life. I'm sure it's fine. And just
ignore it.
Suffer through. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I also think it's challenging too, in our grocery stores anyways, if you look and map it out, the amount of space allocated to nutritious foods compared to everything else that's not serving you is so big. So I think it's also a bit challenging for people sometimes to avoid those, like, well, I don't know, what, 3/4 of the grocery store, probably?
Yeah, I mean, probably even a little bit more than that. I think I use 2 aisles.
Even a little bit more than the 3/4. That's why I love, if you can, farmers markets, because they most of the time don't have the extra stuff. If you want your fruits and vegetables, you're going to go get them and get quality ones.
Yeah, it's a little harder where I live. I live in the desert, so there's no farm here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it depends on location.
100% it does. Yeah, we don't get them in the winter. Like, we won't have any. I think they don't begin until June here usually.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, so business, how long have you been in business?
So I graduated in 2023. I did take time off because I was so unwell. So I've been, July was 1 year for me being in business for the holistic nutrition. Before that, I was actually in banking for 16 years. I started in social work, so I did that. So it's actually a whole new career for me entirely in addition to a new business. So I have been, my business just over a year. July was 1 year. And prior to this, I was in banking for 16 years. And before that, I was a social worker. So this is a newer business for me, but also a completely new career path as well for me.
Awesome. And you seem to really enjoy it. It's probably a little better than banking.
Yeah. You know what? I was not, like, in my opinion, not meant to be in banking. I'd finished school for social work and I got a part-time job, and I needed a second part-time job pretty much to supplement until I had full-time in social work. And I ended up having a family member who worked in banking. So she ended up getting me a part-time job at one of the big banks in Canada, which then spiraled into me working at a credit union and a bunch of different roles spanning over 16 years. So it was never meant to be, I mean, I spent so long there, but it was never my goal to be in banking at all. But it was okay. It was, I mean, I wouldn't want to go back. That's for sure. Definitely wouldn't want to go back.
It did its time.
Yeah, it served its purpose. I learned a lot. I had some fun roles there. I was learning and development for a bit too, so I enjoyed that position. But yeah, it served its purpose. Its time is over.
I'm glad you found your purpose.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I much prefer this. I've always wanted to help people. I just never knew, I guess, which avenue to go in. And one of my friends was going to school for holistic nutrition, and it had been on my list, I think, in 2010. So it was about 10 years from the day that I was like, this is what I want to do one day. And she said she was going to go to school. So I was like, I'm just going to go with you. We'll go together at the time. So we registered maybe just before the pandemic. So it was going to be about an hour, 20-minute drive there and back at the end of the workday. But we were kind of fortunate that we ended up having it all virtually, so we didn't have to do that commute after. But also, you don't get to meet
that
really
helps
anyone.
a lot. Yeah, but sometimes there's some blessings are in disguise, right? Like,
oh, yeah. Especially, you know what, because it's 2 years part-time in the evening. So I remember so many nights, it's 9:30 at night, and I'm just thinking, I'm so glad I can just close my computer and go to sleep right now, as opposed to have an hour and a half drive home at the end of what would be a long day.
Yeah. We got to appreciate the little things that are thrown at us. There's some good in everything, so...
Yeah, I would, and it's funny too, is because before I went, I debated so heavily because I knew how long of a drive it was, and I was like, you know what, I'll commit to the in-class one. So the universe decided for us. We're doing it virtually.
Yeah. So something else I wanted to make sure we touch base on is your book and kind of what, you gave a little bit of why you wrote it, right? But tell us a little bit about your book and kind of what it was like writing. Was it your first book?
Yeah, it was my first book. So I always wanted to write a book. I never knew why, and I never knew what I wanted to write it about until I had gone through this journey. So probably my loved one was diagnosed 2 years before I ever started writing it, and it became a collection of everything that I did. When my loved one was diagnosed, in Western medicine, they'll say that there's not a cure for a dementia diagnosis. There's just medication to slow it down, but we learned so much in school. So I was like, I've got some answers here. Like, surely we can figure some things out. So I did quite a lot. So one was the gym, bringing my loved one to the gym. That, I would say, is like the biggest game changer. Looking into the diet, and I found there was a lot of carbs because they were easy to eat and simple. So we had to shift around for getting in protein and fiber. So writing the book, it took probably a year from beginning to having it published. It's available on Amazon, and it's designed to be a short, easy read. So it's a guide. So the first section is a bit of history about dementia. The second one is some of the research. The third section is how to support yourself as a caregiver. And the fourth section is how to support a loved one. So I break it down into exercises, supplements that might be beneficial, nutritions, other tips. So wherever you are, if you've just been your loved one was just diagnosed, you can go right to the third section or the fourth section and read the pieces that are relevant to how you're feeling right now. If you're wanting to read all of it from beginning to end, you can start at the beginning. And I was very specific to keep it short and concise. There's no fluff. It's just a fast read, because when you're experiencing that, you just need the information quick. So I designed it to be a bit of a guide that you can jump to wherever you need to. You can revisit as many times as you need to. And you can take a couple tips out of it and practice those, and then see if you need to adjust them later and go back and use some of the different suggestions in the book as well.
Nice. And when did you publish that?
This was published March of this year. It came live March 2025.
Nice. And
Yeah.
I mean, how's it doing?
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. For sure. I not a big marketing fan, so I do struggle with getting it out on social media a little bit. But otherwise, it's doing well. And when people have read it, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the people that have read it. It's just how short it is, how easy it is to read is a lot of the feedback that I'm getting. And how digestible the information is. So I mean, I'm happy with the feedback that I've been getting, because it's showing, the feedback I'm getting is telling me that my goal was to make it easy to adjustable to read. So the readers are telling me that I've accomplished the goal that I had set out to do.
That's awesome. So where can people find the book?
So right now, strictly on Amazon. I do have a website at holisticallycurated.com, which has the link to it. I have it linked in Instagram, also at holistically_curated, or on Amazon. So this book is called Navigating Dementia Together, a holistic guide to supporting a loved one with dementia.
Is there anything else you want to touch base on? I know we kind of did a little circle of all the items.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, nothing I can think of touching base outside. The only thing I would like to leave is just reminding people how important it is to begin your health now if you don't have anything going on right now, just to get in the best state you can so that you don't have to worry about these things that are coming up. Like cancer rates are really high, dementia, other health issues. So value your health that you have now and do everything you can to protect it.
And if they have any questions, where do they find you?
Yeah, so they can go to my website at www.holisticallycurated.com, or on Instagram, and the handle is at holistically_curated.
Awesome. All right. Well, I was going to have you share last words, but you already did that,
Yeah.
so I don't need to put that in there. I appreciate you, Ashleigh, coming on the podcast, sharing a little bit of your story and your business, and I can't wait to see your business grow more for you.
Yes,
One
thank
year
you for
in, you're just getting started.
It really is. Yep, the growing pains, the baby stages.
Sorry, I cut you off when you started saying something.
Oh, I was just going to say thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate coming on your show.
I appreciate you. And also, are you going to be writing another book? Just out of
I'm not
curiosity.
sure. I debated it. I'm not sure. I thought about it, but so, I mean, if I'm saying maybe, I probably will one day. I just don't know what it will be yet.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know. You said you always wanted to write one, so maybe you loved it, maybe you didn't. Sometimes we try things and we're like,
Yeah,
not doing that again.
I didn't mind it. I liked it. Yeah, it was a journey for sure, but I did enjoy it. It was one I enjoyed. And I enjoyed it, I think, because it was a journey of my experience that I was able to support others with. So maybe I'll write one on burnout, or maybe something else will come up that I'll think, yes, I need to get that information out.
As your coaching kind of evolves, I'm sure something's going to pop up.
Probably. I think so. Yeah. Especially in the climate where like people I think are sicker now than ever in history. I'm sure that something else will
Yeah,
come up.
definitely. Well, thank you again, and until next time, guys. Bye.